Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moltrap here, coming at you with another one of our quarterfinal games of the 2004 Ever OSL, and this is going to be bonkers. Two of the greatest Terrans that have ever lived coming up against each other. Two of the greatest Terrans of 2004 coming up against each other in this game in 2004. This is going to be crazy. Let me make sure I don't lose track of who is whom. So it looks like NaDa is going to be the green Terran in the top left-hand corner of the map. And that means that OSL is going to be the blue Terran in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So, and I guess I actually I know NaDa's Korean name, so I could have figured that out afterwards if I wanted to. But this is on the map Pelennor, in case you're curious. So this is why this is going to be bonkers. Let me spell this out for you here real quick. Actually, not real quick. It's going to take me a few minutes to spell this out because there's a very long word that I need to spell. It's not a single word, it's metaphorical, to spell out exactly what is going on in this matchup. It's great. Okay, so remember how I was talking about how 62% win rate in TVP was just ridiculous for Zelos, right? And which, you know, we know how that turned out. Get this. OSL has a 66% win rate versus Terran. 66% win rate versus Terran. He wins 2/3 of his games. This is a best of 3. So winning 2/3 of the games is exactly what he needs to accomplish to get out of this series and go to the semifinals. But wait, there's more! Because NaDa has a 69% win rate in TVT at this point in time. These guys are both freaking ridiculous. They're both insane, crazy TVT masters. And we're going to battle of the TVT masters here. I'm literally, even though you can't see me, I'm shaking my hands in the air. I'm gesticulating wildly because I'm so excited about this. This is going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. But wait, there is more. There's more. So let's talk about some of the players that these players have played against. So remember I mentioned Control, a very, very good Terran player who ended up going to the semifinals of the previous OSL, right? Reach ended up beating him to get to the finals, right? OSL lost to Jelizerg in the semifinals. So that's how Jelizerg ended up in the finals. So they ended up in the 3rd place match, and so there was another TVT between Control and OSL, and they played. So again, this is a kind of a prequel to this, that OSL actually played this best of 5 TVT against Control and won 3-2. So a clutch situation for OSL, even though he's pretty new on the scene. Clutch situation against the top Terran, and he wins it 3-2, right? So, but wait, there's more. There's more, because recently NaDa, I'm laying out different things that might come into our calculations about who's going to win. NaDa recently played Zelos, another top Terran, not quite as good at TVT. Well, actually, I didn't check his record at TVT, but I'm imagining it's going to be hard to beat 69% TVT, like ever. There's only been a couple players who have ever broken 70% in a percentage in any matchup. You know, players like Jaedong and Flash come to mind. Super bourgeois. So anyway, and I'm just like ignoring the game right now because of the fact that I want to talk about these players' backgrounds, and we have 2 or possibly 3 games between these two to talk about. So, but we can see on screen now that we do have NaDa going for, I'm sorry, we have OSL. We have OSL going for a 2 factory build. We have NaDa also probably doing the same thing. Yeah, there's the 2nd factory right there. So we're going to see a mirror matchup. It seems like all the TVTs in this tournament that I've seen have all started off as a mirror for the first 5 minutes, and then sometimes they break out and do different things. So we'll see if they differentiate or deviate or what have you. But anyway, just last month, just a month before these games were played, NaDa played Zelos in the WCG Korea tournament. So again, another high-level TVT game. So despite the fact that NaDa has a better percentage win rate, he actually, in his most recent games, lost to Zelos in 2-0, actually. So that's pretty crazy. Although, OSL lost TVT to Midas in the Team League a few weeks before this as well. So both coming off of not the best situation. I mean, NaDa actually beat a guy named Doggy, who's like, okay, Terran, pretty good Terran. Doggy was better a couple years before this. So they're both coming off of mixed results is what I'm saying here, right? Neither of them is coming on a win streak where they're really feeling epic. You know, OOV is, of course, on this huge, you know, he's won 30 of his last 34 TVZs or something like that. Or 31 of his last 30, something like that. So he's won just so much. But TVT not quite as epic of a matchup. And hold that thought because we do have the Vulture battle coming in here. And it's just an even amount here. A little bit of an advantage to NaDa. But he's got a Wraith out. Now we do see that there is a Armory in play. So he's going to be able to get pop out a couple Goliaths and deal with this Wraith pretty easily. But this is his classic NaDa, trying to keep his opponent on his toes. I mean, I guess it's classic of a lot of all the best programmers are keeping their opponent on their toes this way. But look at how prepared he is. He's already got it. The preparation complete. Getting the Goliaths out there. The Wraith gets out barely. Okay, and then another Wraith is going to be pecking away at that barracks. Game, stop being exciting. I still have one more thing to reveal about this matchup, and I may not be able to say it just yet. I might have to wait and say it when there's a lull, or maybe even at the beginning of the next game, because this game is getting intense. We do have the Goliaths and the Vultures pushing out across the map for OOV. He's got less units total, but the Goliaths are more powerful than the Vultures, and we're seeing that right now in that 4 Vultures falling back from those 2 Goliaths and a single Vulture. Some of them are injured as well, so he's going to fall back a little bit, try and regroup. And, you know, if OOV is trying to push across the map, then it makes sense. You might as well just fall back and make it so that you have more superiority in numbers. And OOV is continuing to push in here with these Goliaths, despite the fact that he's rallied a couple more Goliaths here, but he's got to know that the reinforcements for OOV are going to be a little bit of an advantage. Is he going to plant mines down? He does plant mines down next to the Goliaths. He's going to be forced to fall back, but he can't fall back enough. But the mines go off and kill several of NaDa's Vultures as well, and that was a battle that was going to go in NaDa's favor. He was going to win that battle because at first it looked like OOV had it, but he didn't quite shimmy his Goliaths back away from the mines enough in time, and the mines were going to go off and kill his Goliaths, but the Vultures unfortunately stayed a little bit too close, and some of them were injured as well, so they did go down. So I think pretty much even in that situation, we do have a tech advantage for NaDa. He does still have that starport. He's attached a control tower as well. I'm thinking probably dropship. He wants to take a dropship, load up some of these Vultures that he's invested a lot of money into by getting them both speed and mine upgrades, and, you know, drop some Vultures in the main. OOV has his own Wraith out here in the meantime that he's kind of coming across the map with, and I'm not sure exactly what the idea is with this Wraith, because he knows that NaDa has Wraiths. I don't think he has Cloak for that, right? We haven't seen his base, so I don't know if OOV has gotten Cloak. He must not have gotten Cloak, not with spending all of his gas on Goliaths and tanks. I doubt it, but we'll see what this Wraith is going to accomplish. And OOV is trying to take his expansion as well, so this Wraith is going to run in here. And it may actually just be a scout. It may be a scouting Wraith, kind of like, you know, Protoss will get a Corsair. It costs about the same amount, a little bit less to get a scout in. And whoa, I'm getting a little bit of lag here on this video, and apologies for that. It looks like it's cleared up. Okay. This is an old FLV file that I'm working with, so who knows what could be going on with it. And we have a little bit of a Wraith on Wraith battle over in the background here, but the Wraith with the SCV underneath it repairing is going to win that every single time. Almost every single time. You know, obviously there can be circumstances. Whoa! Actually, what happened there? Was that a different Wraith? Somehow he's still... oh, maybe Goliath took a couple shots at that Wraith. I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, either way, OOV has 2 Wraiths out now on the map, picking away at these tanks. And, I mean, I guess it makes sense to get the Wraiths actually now that I think of it, because even though NaDa had Wraiths of his own, he did not have Goliaths. And so, you know, if your opponent doesn't have Goliaths, they're going to have a hard time dealing with. Okay, he's got 2 starports as well. So that's his plan, is to get 2 starports over 1 and out macro the air battle. And if he can't keep up with the air battle, then he'll lose the ground battle. Because once you kill off all the enemy Wraiths, and if there's not any Goliaths to deal with, which there are, but if there aren't, then the Wraiths slowly, very slowly, but very effectively and safely take out the tanks in your opponent's army, and that'll win the battle basically. So, yeah, Any case, look at this force of tanks here. This is why they call him the cheater Terran. He just is such a macro god. I mean, he's basically the... I don't even want to say... Actually, I can't say the progenitor of modern macro anymore because, you know, in 2010 I could say that he kind of ushered in the way macro started to get played. But macro has even changed just in the last 10 years. Macro is even different now than it was in 2010. And so modern macro is even a little bit different, I would say. You know, I think Flash has a different kind of higher level macro than OOV even had in this era. So it's interesting. We do have this skirmish going on. So many tanks, and even though he wasn't in the best position, OOV pushes through just with a sheer numbers advantage here and pushes out. And this is interesting that OOV is just now getting a second base, and it looks like NaDa was transferring SCVs to a second base in that top right earlier. I didn't see exactly. Yeah, okay, there he does have a second base up there. And it's interesting that he took that instead of trying to take his close base. Maybe because it's a little bit safer to have it kind of out of the way. Kind of almost in like a TVP sort of way. Like the Protoss wants to keep their extra bases farther away from the Terran to make it a longer distance for Terran to push and kill them. So maybe he's thinking the same sort of thing where if OOV is going to push out and try and push against his bases, he wants it farther away. Whereas you want to... I mean, sometimes in the Terran will want to expand forward, right? So in a TVP, you'll see the Terran will actually... and he's going to finally be able to pick off that mine underneath and land that command center. The Terran will make their bases towards the enemy, the Protoss base, because then they can defend their expansions while pushing forward. It's all the same process, right? And so maybe NaDa is thinking he's behind, and so that's why he's opting to be a little bit safer with his expansion location. It could just be something about the terrain that I don't understand as well with the high ground ramp or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, he's done a little bit of a drop over here with some Goliaths, so it's going to be nice because the Goliaths are going to be safe against the Wraiths, and they're going to be able to pick off these SCVs very efficiently. They're going to be able to deal with the Vultures well. The only thing the Goliaths are not as good against are the tanks, but the tanks would not want to be falling back all the way into this location. He's doing so much damage, and the dropship is still there. He can actually pick up those Goliaths and exit if he wants to, but not with those Wraiths there. The Wraiths fly in and immediately are like, whoops, 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 whoop, get back, whoop, nope, 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 let's get out of here. So the Goliaths are finally going to go down with the combined fire of Wraiths, SCVs, and a little bit of a Vulture action going on there as well. And he's not done yet. He's made he lost that dropship, but he's made another dropship loaded up with more Goliaths. And the other good thing about loading up the dropship with Goliaths is that if Wraiths do catch it off guard, you can drop the Goliaths out as a defensive measure to try and protect the dropship. Anyway, but yeah, OOV now with 4 factories. He's just completely ignoring that mineral spot in his main there. And oh, does he see that? I think OOV might see that quote-unquote hidden expansion up at the top right, or I guess top middle. And yeah, he definitely sees it because he's going in for a bit of a counterattack. Vultures versus Goliaths. The Goliaths actually able to turn on those Wraiths pretty quickly as the tanks focus down the Vultures. And what is going on here? Some Goliaths were in perfect position to assault these dropships heading in, so he knows they're heading in, but his Wraiths are all the way across the map, and so NaDa's going to be able to drop a ton of units in the back. The mineral patches are going to defend the tanks. And what is in the other dropship? I hope it's Goliaths. What's in the box? Is it Goliaths? And those tanks are, yeah, they are Goliaths. And I mean, the Goliaths are there because then the Wraiths can't just come in and pick off the tanks, but it also means that these Goliaths are just gonna die. They're not really in a good position to deal with these tanks coming back to defend, and so they're just gonna die unless he picks them up in a dropship. Nope, he can't do that either because now the Wraiths would kill them and the other Goliaths, and so he's gonna lose 2 more dropships as well. I don't know if that was worth. He stopped a lot of mining time, but lost 2 tanks, 2 dropships, 4 Goliaths. That is a lot of money. A lot of money just circling down the drain there. In much the same way that a Goliath missile kind of circles its target a little bit if it's moving sometimes in a kind of a weird way. I think, or maybe I'm thinking of missile turret. I feel like I've seen missiles in the air kind of doing a little bit of a turn, though. They don't just like go straight at their target sometimes. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but who knows. In any case, This is turning into a longer match here. Both players are now on 2 solid bases. Neither player has had their economy harassed for too much of for a while, basically. I wish I could see their supplies right now. That would kind of tell me a little bit better tale, but I think my guess would be that oov, I mean, if you ever have to make a bet on who's got more supply, oov is usually the safe bet. But I also just feel like he's been a little bit more effective in his macro. He had more units earlier. Clearly, he's won some of these ground battles a little bit more effectively. He's been pumping out more rates. So just in general, my sense is that I think oov probably has more units on the map. And now we see NaDa pushing out to that 3rd base, which is near his. And that might just be a fact that, you know, this game is broadened up enough that any base kind of somewhere farther away on the map is going to be just less safe. It's going to be a little bit harder to keep hold of because things are more volatile. It's going to be really easy to send out a handful of vultures and sneak them around the map and deal damage to a side expansion. So NaDa was already having to keep a tank and some other units at the top middle expansion, and you know, if he had to send units to the top right, for example, if he took that expansion, then that would be more units away from his central army. So that's what I think might be going on here. But anyway, so oov back to producing wraiths here. And it looked like he was evacuating his main for safety purposes, but in fact, he's running them down to his expansion, which is in the bottom right, which is going to be finished by the time they get there. And whoa, what is going on here? Oh, it's a barracks. Okay, I thought it was, for some reason I thought it was a command center. But so oov has actually, I'm sorry, NaDa has taken the top right base. I thought I saw something up there, but I didn't realize it was a whole base. So NaDa actually has taken that top right base that I was just talking about how it would be difficult to defend. He's had to put buildings in the way to try and defend it. Look at this little spread here by oov, by the way. Spreading out his tanks a little bit to make sure that there's mines and splash damage from enemy tanks. Can't do as much damage. Of course, it means you're trading that for the fact that they can't focus fire as much. A little bit. If they're clumped up, it's easier to focus fire. Here he comes in, and one tank goes down immediately. Oh, what just... Oh, there's more tanks behind there. He target fired down the Goliaths and obliterated them very quickly, which is going to leave it to these wraiths to kill off those tanks very easily. So, I mean, this is what I was talking about with this sort of TVP-ish push, where you move slowly across the map and you try and siege up outside of your opponent's base. That's exactly what we're seeing right here. NaDa is countering, trying to clear that up, but he just doesn't have the forces. Now, I believe NaDa does actually have a little bit better... He might have a little bit better economy, a little bit more money in the bank, but... you know, money gets turned into units, and if the units die, the money is gone. And so, yeah, this is it's just so hard to tell who's winning in this situation because both players are trading against each other. Again, I feel like oov is seeming to have a little bit of an advantage attacking there. These dropships are running in there, and oh, they're going to get caught. Oh, no, they're going to drop out most of the units, though. And was it a bait? He gets one wraith, I think. The tanks go into siege mode across that little gap, though, and loses another wraith. The tanks come into siege mode again on the bottom. So all of those units, he actually saved them by dropping them out of the dropships. I think one of the dropships survived as well, but then they ended up going down because oov actually had units in position to kill them manually, not just with the wraiths picking them off, getting free kills. So, yeah, NaDa continually... just being on the losing end of these little skirmishes, losing here, losing there. And, you know, that's the kind of thing where you end up falling 5 or 10 supply behind, and then you lose another skirmish and you fall 15, 20 supply behind. And at a certain point, when oov is maxed out and NaDa is not, he's just going to go crush him. Unless there's some sort of a tactical advantage, like a superiority of wraiths or something like that. But right now, both of their armies are so diverse that I don't think that's going to be the case for either situation. No player can get away with some cheeky wraith kills or anything like that. So anyway, we have, what were those tanks doing? There's some oov's tanks kind of over on the right side of the map. It looked like they might have been heading up to the top right to try and assault those expansions. Now they're coming back down here. I don't know if he saw this dropship incoming and he withdrew those troops specifically to counter it. And looks like he is going to be able to come in here and clean up these Goliaths. They got several kills amongst the 4 of them before they kill him off. So I think it might have been a good situation for him. So there we see the bulk of NaDa's army. There we see some of, but not even all of, oov's army. And it just looks like OOV has more stuff. Now, here's the thing, though, is I think OOV has more tanks. OOV has more tanks, but NaDa has more of the support forces, I believe. So there is the possibility that because it looks like OOV doesn't have the vulture count to match, that, you know, if you end up in a vulture battle of some kind, that the vultures could come up, and he's actually, what the heck? He's actually just run right up into NaDa, and here's what I'm talking about. Can these mines do enough damage? He's trying to plant mines down. He's target firing down the mines, but the vultures are actually also getting close enough that killing the vultures is enabling the splash damage to kill the tanks, and NaDa is coming in from the side, but he's losing his units. OOV is now sieging up on the low ground as well and killing off those tanks on the middle expansion. He has so many forces. He's just got so much more stuff. And this is what it is like, you know, imagine he hadn't lost those 2 tanks and 4 Goliaths and, you know, 2 dropships in that earlier. Imagine if there was 2 extra tanks and 4 extra Goliaths in that battle. NaDa either defends his main or he defends this expansion with those extra units. And instead, he's not defending either of them. And now NaDa is shifting into Mass Wraith. I didn't see if he was upgrading Cloak, but if he's getting 3-port Wraith, he's going to definitely be upgrading Cloak. He's hoping now, he's saying, okay, well, I'm screwed. I need to somehow pull out some sort of a tactical advantage in order to get myself back in this game. And so that's what he's attempting to do with this 3-port Wraith, because I don't think there's no way he can just win by macro and positioning at this point. It's just impossible. OOV has all of the advantages. He's got the position. He's sieged up near his expansion. He's sieged up near the main. There's just nothing he can do. And OOV is actually even building extra Wraiths right now as well, which is going to kind of counter this, I think. I don't think NaDa can quite build enough Wraiths quickly enough to completely counter this. And here, this might be the end right here, actually. Having to fight with SCVs as they get caught in the middle, trying to keep the expansion. There's nowhere for them to go. The command center has been obliterated. And even if they did manage to... He's trying to float to one of those middle bases. Even if he managed to get those SCVs back home, OOV has position outside of his main. And there's the remainder of his force. Oh, what the... He canceled the starports? I don't even know anymore. I mean, I mean, maybe he's like, okay, I don't have the money for these starports or something like that, but I don't know what else, I don't know how he's gonna win the game without doing something cheeky, right? And maybe he is not aware of how much of an economic advantage OOV has. But I think this game is pretty much over. So this is gonna go to OOV for game 1. And remember, this is a best of 3. So NaDa with his 2% higher win rate with TVT could still come back and win this best of 3. But I don't see any way for NaDa to get back into this. So I'm sorry, I can't. I have to check the thing because I don't want it to go. Well, I guess I could just wait for it to end. I can wait for the video to end. But like I said, I don't think I'm spoiling anything by showing there's not much time left on this. Because this is pretty much over. Here's the final engagement, though. The last scraps of what NaDa has managed to put together as an army is just going to get absolutely sandwiched. And just like a sandwich, the meat gets squished by the bread of tanks of NaDa's army. I have made so many sandwich jokes in my casts over the years. I must have made at least 100 sandwich jokes because it's just, you know, the flanking maneuver is a classic thing to do, right? And it's just so easy to call it a sandwich. And it's so cheesy to call it a sandwich, though, that I always feel obligated to add some sort of continued metaphor onto the sandwich metaphor. And so I think I've probably made more sandwich jokes than a lot of people have. But anyway, that's going to do it for game number 1. It's going to go to OOV, who just out-macroed and outplayed NaDa. And, it goes all the way back even to the beginning where NaDa was like, haha, I have a Wraith in your base. And OOV is like, haha, I have 2 Goliaths. It does nothing. And so that little early gambit didn't really secure him much. We also had NaDa get the early vultures, the mass vultures, and it worked pretty well, but it wasn't able to accomplish what he needed it to in terms of gaining an advantage. And of course, losing some vultures to his own mines in that push that OOV did was pretty bad too. So anyway, so excuse me, game 1's gonna go to OOV, and I still have one little bit of information, which is super, super interesting and crucial to understanding this matchup and the importance of this matchup. I'm going to tell you at the beginning of game number 2. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you in the next game. GG.